Granddad's riding on the westbound railroad, slowly down to the sea. Past the towns with the chimneys smoking, and a while the children sleep. All the riders on the westbound railroad, we all know their names. They are gone, but sometimes they're here with us, pretty much the same. And you won't be coming back to here at Christmas time this year, because the angels answer call to you for the man you are. The sun sets on the westbound railroad, the train is pulling in. Twilight sings to a different town than the one we're standing in. Grandma stood on the platform waving as the train pulled out. She could only think to picture his face and recall the sound. And you won't be coming back to here at Christmas time this year, because the angels there's a call to you for the man you are. Granddad's riding on the westbound railroad, slowly down to the sea. Past the towns with the chimneys smoking, and a while the children sleep. And you won't be coming back to here at Christmas time this year, because the angels there's a call to you for the man you are, for the man you are, for the man you are.
One, two, three, four.
Face the music.
be made first for a justice too long denied.
Good morning. Welcome to All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church for a Sunday morning. This first ever federally recognized Juneteenth holiday weekend that just happens to coincide with Father's Day and Pride Month. We have a lot to celebrate. Thank you for being here with us. We look forward to the people that are with us today to share, and hope that you'll leave your comments as we go along in the Facebook chat, and stay tuned for when we actually get to come back together in person again. This is a church built on covenant of how we will be with one another, rather than that we all think alike, because we don't. We have different spiritual views. We have different slants on a whole lot of issues. And we come here together to learn how to be better representatives of the compassion and the love that we hold to be primary. There may be people that disagree with that too. Maybe they can say that in the chat. Anyway, this week is our national conference, so we hope you'll stay tuned for some information about that. And I want to welcome one of our board members, Dawn Subasic, to share with us this morning. Just
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start with, what Barbara said. The General Assembly is this week. I think Susan has more details on that, but everyone's encouraged to attend some part of that. I'm sure that's a blessing. Volunteer of the month is Kevin Henry, who has been doing a fantastic job of painting in the church. And he's been working really hard and working on this for a while, and it looks really great. Thank you, Kevin. And I'm going to kind of just go through the email that we get each week, because it's got a lot of information. I'm just going to touch some of the high points, but be sure and look over it because it's got a lot of information about what's going on and what you can be involved with. Our giveaway, the plate for June, is Louisiana Trans Advocates. June is Pride Month, so we've chosen this group, LTA, as Giveaway the Plate recipient. They are a statewide organization advancing trans rights as core human rights. As such, they provide support, resources, and empowering intersectional advocacy for all transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people of Louisiana. There's information on our website or in the email as to how you can make donations. Also, we've got some opportunities for connecting in person, and you can contact Kathy Osuch for more details about that. Other opportunities to connect online, we have the Reverend Barbara's Monday night Zoom pod. We have late night at the Salty Chalice with Miss Susan Caldwell. And we have virtual coffee hour, which takes place after the service here, and that's hosted by Bennett Upton. Also, Highland Blessing Dinner is returning to in-person this Thursday, June 24th, and it's going to be at the original time from 5 to 7. And also Souls is going to return to co-hosting on the first Thursday of the month, but they're always welcome to volunteer at any time. There's more details about what you need to be prepared to do as far as masking and gloves and that kind of thing in the email. And also meditation with Larry on Saturday, Larry Andros on Saturday mornings at 10:30 a.m. It's a weekly 20-minute sitting Buddhist meditation followed by a teaching. And if you've never been a part of that, it's a great experience. Larry is a fantastic teacher. And that's all I'm gonna bring up. Like I said, check your email and see what all there is to offer. And I'm gonna pass it on to Miss Susan, I believe.
I'm not sure if I had a transitional sound. I didn't hear it, but good morning. I'm happy to be here with everybody, and thank you, Dawn. You did much of the heavy lifting for that this morning, and I appreciate it. Religious education activities for children and youth. We are going to do another in-person activity in the not too distant future, and there'll be more information about that as it develops. But we're gonna take a little break from our online Zoom RE classes this summer. I did want to tell you, as Dawn said, I wanted to elaborate a little bit on General Assembly. I've actually put a link in the chat already in the Facebook comments about public events during General Assembly. General Assembly will be Wednesday through Sunday of next week. And a lot of the workshops and things you do have to be registered to attend, but there are some public events in the evening that are really worth tuning in for, including the worship service, which conveniently is going to be at 11 o'clock our time next Sunday. And we are going to have that. I believe this is correct, Reverend Barbara, but we are going to have that as our worship next Sunday. And then we can get together afterward at our coffee hour time and talk about it. So, and I believe Dawn has covered everything else. So I thank you, and I'll pass it back to Reverend Barbara.
Technology, gotta love it. We do these services live. We try to stay as present with you in our spirits and our reality as we can. And so if you are streaming the service at the time that this is supposed to be taking place, we're here with you, scattered all over the city. We thank you for joining us, even if you're in another city. It's always a pleasure to get to reach a little bit farther because we have this online presence that wonderful people like Brittany and Steve and James facilitate, and Susan facilitate for us. Let's see. I want to invite you into a spirit of worship now. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Take a couple of deep breaths. And put your mind and body in the same place if you can.
Why not every man? Why not every man? Why not every man? Why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? He delivered Daniel from the lion's den, Jonah from the belly of the whale, and the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace. Then why not every man? Why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? Why not every man? So why not every man?
As we have gathered once more, stirred by that overarching, underlying, permeating spirit in which we live and move and have our being, we humbly recognize yet again that we are living history. Times not seen before, and whose formation will depend in large measure on the character, compassion, and understanding we contribute. as I mentioned before, this first ever Juneteenth federal holiday that just happens to coincide with Father's Day. We will try to honor both traditions by considering what passes from one generation to another, including the struggles that endure for generations. Today, we honor the generations before us and stop for a time to consider our own legacy. Now I'd like to invite our Lifespan Religious Education Director to join me in a reading from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. In a house which becomes a home, one hands down and another takes up the heritage of mind and heart, laughter and tears, musings and deeds.
Love, like a carefully loaded ship, crosses the gulf between the generations.
Therefore, we do not neglect the ceremonies of our passage. When we wed, when we die, and when we are blessed with a child.
When we depart and when we return, when we plant and when we harvest.
Let us bring up our children. It is not the place of some official to hand to them their heritage.
If others impart to our children our knowledge and ideals, they will lose all of us that is wordless and full of wonder.
Let us build memories in our children, lest they drag our joyless lives, lest they allow treasures to be lost because they have not been given the keys.
We live not by things, but by the meanings of things. It is needful to transmit the passwords from generation to generation.
Thank you, Susan. Here we are, children at the big party, having our moment in the sun, our piece of the action till our bodies give way and we're called home. We're one big, not always happy family, given life and breath by an eternal parent we dearly long to know. Now we would have our one shot. Now we do have our one shot at it, our one time to be a conscious part of this ongoing cavalcade. It's not a free and easy trip, and we have to live with pain as well as pleasure, temptation as well as promise, loneliness as well as love, fear as well as hope. We have to live inside a coat of skin wrapped up in drives difficult to control and dreams difficult to achieve. And though we are the guests of honor, we don't get to set the time of the party or its place, nor are we consulted about the guest list. This is our time. And there really is just one question. What are we going to do with it? For our children's chalice lighting today, I would like to invite Ashford McLean to lead us.
Hi, okay. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands, and this is the church of the loving hearts.
Thank you so much, Ash. On Father's Day, we honor those people who have been teachers, confidants, and friends. We acknowledge that it is not biology that makes a parent, but love and attention. For those of us that have lost a father or a child, we hold their memories in our hearts. For all of us who are fathers or simply parents, we ask for continued help in discerning how best to care for our children, whether they be 5 or 50 years old. May the strands of relationship between ourselves and all of creation grow ever stronger. May all of us, no matter what our place in the cycle of life, experience nurture and love. And may we pass on that love to those who we encounter on our paths. Now, may our wisdom show itself in compassion and understanding, and may the fruits of the Spirit be apparent in our lives. So may it be, and amen. I would like to invite Dawn Subasic to lead us in our unison affirmation.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm trying to move back to the habit of doing hymns and keys that y'all can sing more easily. The lyrics are up on the screen, and so I would invite you to sing along as you will. This is going to be a little low for me, but hopefully the low voices and high voices can find a spot that's comfortable for you. Yes. That was quite strange. Someone else on this podcast just accidentally dialed me. Don't know what to tell you. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. All kinds of people around the table. All kinds of people around the table one of these days, hallelujah. All kinds of people around the table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table. No fancy style at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. First verse, here, come sit at the welcome table. we're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah, we're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days with everybody. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days as equals in peace. A jubilating song for Jubilee. Miss Susan?
Good morning. Good morning. I will confess to being the one who hit my phone and called Reverend Barbara in the middle of the service. Yay! And anyway, the technological things that have gone on this morning, that was just like kind of a little bit of, icing on the cake or sprinkles on the icing or something like that. Anyway, I do have a story. As Reverend Barbara was saying, we're trying to as best we can, do justice to this wonderful first federally recognized Juneteenth weekend and our celebration of Father's Day. And I found this story that I want to share with you that I think is wonderful for both. And it's Juneteenth for Maisie. And it's by an author named Floyd Cooper, and I'll tell you a little bit about him at the end of the story. But I like this story because Maisie hears the story of Juneteenth from her own father, and we talk about, parents being responsible for handing down to their children their heritage. So for all sorts of reasons, I love this story. Maisie wants to play outside, but it is too late. It's getting dark, Maisie. It's time to stay inside. Maisie wants a cookie, but it's time for bed. Not now, little one. It's too close to bedtime. Maisie wants to stay up late, but she is too little. Bedtime is the rule, sweet girl. Why so grumpy, Sugar Bear? Asked Dad. I can't go where I want, have what I want, or do what I want, answers Maisie. Well, tomorrow you can have a celebration, says Dad. What are we celebrating? Asks Maisie. We will celebrate the day that your great-great-great-grandpa Mose crossed into liberty. The day will be celebrated by us and many more families on a day that we call Juneteenth, and Dad lifts Maisie into his arms. I bet you're tired of hearing no all the time. Well, great-great-great-grandpa Mose heard no even more. Grandpa Mose worked in fields that stretched all the way to sunset. He and the other enslaved people would be bone tired, but they had to keep going. Their enslavers wouldn't let them quit. But as they worked, they thought about freedom. And before they finally went to sleep at night, they prayed about freedom and made plans for change and a better future. And some slaves ran north to freedom, following a bright star in the sky. They sweat, they bled, they cried till those cries were quieted by a single proclamation from a brave president. Grandpa Mose heard that proclamation read from the balcony of the hotel on that June day in Galveston, Texas. Grandpa Mose heard nothing but cheers, saw nothing but happiness, and felt nothing but pride shared by all of those around him. The cheers became dancing, the dancing became celebrating, and it went on and on into the night. Grandpa Mose and the others had found freedom. They continued to work, but this time they were paid for their hard work. And so they worked, and they saved, and they never forgot the moment they heard, the moment that changed their lives forever. But things weren't perfect. Black people still struggled to stand shoulder to shoulder with white people. They still weren't treated as equals. It wasn't easy, but they never gave up. And every year on Juneteenth, they remembered. They marched for jobs. They lobbied for schools and the right to vote. They shouted for opportunity. And every year on Juneteenth, they celebrated and remembered. They learned and they grew. They forgave. They excelled and achieved. They became heroes. And now, sweet Maisie, it's your turn to celebrate, just like great-great-great-grandpa Mose. It's your turn, Maisie, to eat some barbecue and drink some strawberry pop. It's your turn to celebrate. And this is just a little bit of the story that on June 19th in 1865, soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, announcing the end of the Civil War and the end of slavery in the United States. It was more than 2 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. It's celebrated every year on June 19th in many African American families and in many communities. Juneteenth commemorates the announcement of the abolition of slavery and the emancipation of Black citizens throughout the entire United States. And it has now been recognized as a federal holiday. And this was a story by Floyd Cooper. He is a writer and illustrator, and these are just some of the books that he has either written and illustrated or illustrated with other authors. And there are a bunch more, including one about the Tulsa massacre, which we've just recently commemorated. So I encourage you to keep learning. And the best way to celebrate is to keep moving forward, to keep working for change, working for justice. Thank you.
Good morning. For today's meditation, let yourself find a comfortable position in which your body can be balanced and your spine straight. Begin with a deep, comfortable breath, shifting your attention to your heart space, and imagine breathing in and out of your heart. Allow your breath to deepen and slow. Allow your breath to be soft and kind. In this sacred moment of presence, reflect. Today, as I examine the rich tapestry of beloved community and the ever-evolving patterns of its threads, I notice and appreciate the gifts of one of the many interwoven patterns. The colors and contribution of that pattern we know as fatherhood and fathering, a role that carries energies vast and challenging, energies as necessary as the sun's warmth and light, and as dangerous as the sun's unmediated and unbalanced power. I have seen so many people move in and out of that role, male and female, old and young, people with biological children and those without, those who have held that role skillfully and those who have held it unskillfully. Today, I give thanks to those who have been a positive channel for those energies in my life and my community. I give thanks for those who dream safety and structure for our children. I give thanks for those who draw maps and build pathways for our becoming. I give thanks for those who build homes where learning can unfold and hearts can blossom. I give thanks for those who hold space for all that is unripe in us, all that seeks the hard-earned gift of wisdom. And I give thanks for those who protect the vision that we share. And yes, I have also seen the shadow side of Father energy, walls that would not soften, ears that would not hear, hands closed too tightly to give or receive. I have been taught images that are cold, unkind, and distant. But today I join hands with beloved community to live and give this sacred energy in new ways that are just and kind, compassionate and wise, in ways that nurture healing and balance, in ways that are as gentle as they are strong. In this sacred moment, I center in my breath. As I breathe in, I recognize the gifts I have received from fathering, and as I breathe out, I share those gifts with strength and kindness.
Thank you, Larry. These words come from George Washington Carver. How far you go in life depends on your being tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and the strong. Because someday in life you will have been all of these. George Washington Carver never had children of his own. Reports were that his ability had been through a procedure stripped away from him by a white master. So the only children he ever had were the students in classrooms and in Sunday school. Carver saw his Christian faith as a means of destroying both barriers and racial disharmony and social stratification. So he worked as intentionally to encourage his students' character development and saw, as he did their intellectual development, And one of the ways that he did that was by sharing 8 virtues that he thought they should try to live into. Now, he was a man of his time. He was born in 1864, and so he's a product of that time and his gender. But still, he put together these cardinal virtues and shared them with his students. Be clean, both inside and out. Neither look up to the rich nor down on the poor. Lose if need be, without squealing. Win without bragging. Always be considerate of women, children, and older people. Be too brave to lie. Be too generous to cheat. Take your share of the world and let others take theirs. We could do worse than passing along most of these same ideals. Still, our primary guiding principle is love. Love is the doctrine of this church, is what we say each week. And so I again invite Susan Caldwell to join me in sharing these words from our current president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Susan Frederick Gray, incidentally. We know that hurt moves through the world, perpetrated by action, inaction, and indifference. Our values call us to live in the reality of heartbreak of our world, remembering that
no one is outside the circle of love.
We who are Unitarian Universalists not only affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we also affirm the inherent wholeness of every being, despite apparent brokenness.
No one is outside the circle of love.
We know that things break or break down, promises, friendship, sobriety, hope, communication. This breaking happens because our human hearts and our very institutions are frail and imperfect. We make mistakes. Life is messy.
No one is outside the circle of love.
With compassion as our guide, we seek the well-being of all people. We seek to dismantle systems of oppression that undermine our collective humanity. We believe that we're here to guide one another toward love.
No one is outside the circle of love.
No matter how fractured we are or once were, we can make whole people of ourselves. We are whole at the core because of the great, unnameable, sometimes inconceivable love in which we live.
No one is outside the circle of love.
Thank you, Susan. I'm delighted today to invite Steve Caldwell and John Allen to share, and we'll ask them to just jump in one at a time. Steve, maybe you first.
Good morning. I think I'm on. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Good morning. I'm here to reflect on the question that was passed along to me. What do you want to pass along to your children, and how much of that is related to how you were parented? This is really a hard question for me to reflect on because we're talking about stuff that happened a long time ago. Some of this happened over 35 to 40 years ago, or even earlier. But I will reflect on the messages that I was raised with, what was passed along to me from my dad, Alonzo Caldwell. My dad was born in 1928, which is the beginning of the post-war generation that was born between 1928 and 1945. And also, hi, Dad, happy Father's Day. I think you're out there listening, so I want to say happy Father's Day. I'll talk to you later. Dad's generation is one that came into adulthood at the end of World War II and was the generation that was prior to the baby boom generation between 46 and 64. My dad served in the Navy for 2 years and was able to use his GI Bill education benefits to complete college and earn his degree. He was the first person in his family to achieve this milestone. Dad knew the importance of education for helping one find one's place in the world, and he passed that value along to my sister and me. He ensured that when my sister and I left home after high school, that we would be able to have the same opportunity to attend college that he had in the late 1940s and early 1950s. Susan and I have ensured that our kids will have the same opportunity. They've had the same opportunity that my dad passed along to me. And Dad also knew that once you give back to wider society. After serving for 2 years in the Navy as a submarine crew member, Dad returned to college to complete his degree. Part of his college studies included Air Force ROTC classes. Dad left college as an Air Force officer and served in the Air Force for 28 years before retiring from active duty military service. In addition to my dad's military service, he's also given back to the community in other ways. For many years, he was a volunteer driver who transported children from his community to the nearest Shriners Hospital in Philadelphia for surgery and other needed medical care. Dad also volunteered for his church's Vacation Bible School, where he helped prepare snacks for kids that are enrolled in the program. My sister and I have embraced Dad's idea that it's important to serve the wider society. My sister served the Treasury Department for many years before she retired, serving our nation in that way. In her retirement, she is very active in various philanthropic organizations that serve others in her community. Following my dad's example of service, I served in the Air Force from 1983 to 2003. And even though I traded the flight suit for business casual, I still continue to serve the Air Force to this present day. And like my dad, I also volunteer for my church in various ways, including both religious education and computer support tasks at church. I also spend time volunteering on Saturdays at Hope Medical Group, doing what I can to make the patients' experiences better by shielding them from harassment by protesters. I think that our children, Delia and Charlie, have also embraced the same values that Dad passed along to me. Delia and Charlie have embraced Dad's love of learning and the importance of education, and they have found ways to give back to the world through their work. Delia has found her calling working for Hope Medical Group in Shreveport and for various clinics in Oregon. She's exploring how she can work in public health in the future. Charlie has taught English as a second language in elementary and middle school in South Korea for 4 years. He is exploring how to enter the United States Foreign Service, working for the State Department after his time in Korea. Thank you, and happy Father's Day to everybody out there.
Am I up? Sorry, couldn't tell. I'm not. My Zoom still just shows Steve. Hi, I'm John Allen. It's good to see you all this morning. Like Steve was passed along the idea of what I hoped I'd passed on to my children, and how that was related to what I got from my own father, my parents. And I don't know. I was thinking about this, and what did I hope my kids? I'm kind of at the end, last few chapters of this parenting thing. It's been 5 kids total, and the last one's about to be a senior in high school. All my biologicals and the ones I had primary of are up and out. And I think I might have a vague idea of what I was doing now that I'm almost done. But I think more than anything else, what I realized was I don't think we get to choose what we pass along to our children. There's a lot of things I would want them to take from my life and what I've done for them, but that's going to be based on their experience. Because I was thinking about my own father. My father was a United States Marine Corps drill instructor. All of those things are true. You can fill in from that information. It would be relatively accurate. Except for the fact that, bluntly, my father was also an alcoholic until I was, well, still an alcoholic, but he was an active alcoholic until I was 14 years old. And when I was 14 years old, my father sobered up. And the thing that I took from him more than anything else was the courage it took for him, a man who is a Marine drill instructor, prison guard, and never wrong once, ever in his entire life, to turn and look at me and say, I have been wrong. I don't know what the future looks like, but I'm going to try and figure it out. That stuck with me. My father did not have an education. He was a very smart man, still is, but did not have the opportunity for education. Education was extremely important for him. He worked, the schools where I grew up were not the most incredible. And so he worked as an E9 in the United States Marine Corps. At night, he stocked shelves at a grocery store to make extra money to send me to private school so that I could go to college, which I did, becoming the first person on either side of my family to get a college degree. I took that. Education is important to me. I raised my own children the idea. People are like, were you going to college? And they just look at you a little weird because, of course, because it was never an option. I was told, you're going to college. And I hope they take that. I've tried to pass on to my children the idea that, one, kids are important. That's something I got from my father and my mother. That children are important, that you should serve your children as much as anything else. Also, don't sit in my chair. They know that because I have a special chair. And everyone knows that. I kicked a guy out. I wish I had a friend of ours over last night, and I kicked him out of my chair because it's my chair. Those are the benefits that come with all the sacrifice. But in general, all levity aside, I hope they know that I love them. I hope they know that having kids, when and if they ever do, is an incredible thing. Being a father's the coolest thing I've ever done. My kids are the coolest people I've ever met. They're cooler than I am. Well, not quite, but they're definitely, they're close. And I just hope that, I don't know, they take something from me and being, my part in their life that lets them know that they're important, just as important as anyone else around. Because my father, again, he did not have an education, but he was a man who, he had a lot of pride, probably a little too much. I probably took that from him too. But he firmly believed, and as I've told my children, your opinions, your perspective, your instincts, they're important and you should trust them. Especially as a father of daughters, that's an important thing, I think, to impart as well. Your instincts are important. And if something inside you says, this isn't right, or I'm not sure about this, trust that and act on it. And then get out in the world and blaze a path and don't sit in my chair. That's all I have. Thank you.
We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world sing along till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along.
We will not stop praying. We will not stop praying. We will not stop praying till we all can get along, till the world can sing our song. We will not stop shouting. We will not stop shouting. We will not stop shouting. Shouting right from wrong till the world can sing our song. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear our song, till the world can sing along.
Many of the past generation and many of today have found three abiding values in prayer: the quiet meditation on life, the reaching out toward the universal and the infinite, and the courageous facing of one's profoundest wishes. Let parents sense and share with their children the glory and mystery of everyday things. Let them look with sympathy upon humanity's age-long dilemmas. Let no questions be taboo. The next generation can ill afford to have the deeper values deleted from the book of life. We have so very far to go yet. And still we celebrate every positive step of the journey. I do so look forward to seeing you when the opportunity comes. Till then, be well, stay smart, be in touch with one another, please. Listen to the call of the times and respond with compassion and accountability. May we continue to have heart, vision, and courage as we share the joyous struggle. So be it. Ashe. Amen. Blessed be. Go in peace. Happy Father's Day and Jubilee.
As long as I can remember, there were only two ways to go.